Welcome, this is Mary Louise Zeller, and this is the Kyani Wednesday weekly webinar. And what my goal is tonight is to communicate in such a way that you get that Kyani is truly a new model in this industry, and that it is different. It's different. This industry of network marketing began with Amway more than 60 years ago. And I think it's been flawed. You could even say corrupt, because I've tried before. I am a world-class athlete, have been all my life. I am a 6th-degree black belt in Olympic sport Taekwondo. I won U.S. Nationals 20 years running, and I'm a 9-time world champion. I've written a book on supplementation for health, high performance, and now that I'm 70 years old, anti-aging, that's a subject near and dear to my heart. And never in my career of studying, really researching natural supplementation for health and high performance, have I ever come across any protocol of products that are life-changing, like Kyani's Triangle of Health products. That is different. And never before in my dabbling in network marketing have I ever made any significant money. And with Kyani, I made life-changing money the first month I was in. So I've been in now 5 years. I only took this on at the behest of one of my dear friends, Mike Akagi, who's also a world-class athlete, world-class runner. And and Mike invited me into this opportunity of Kyani. He was teaching at Brigham Young University and Hawaii, and he was having his hours. He's an adjunct professor, and was having his hours reduced every semester until he had his back on the wall. I didn't know the down economy had really impacted the universities like it did, but he taught English as a second language and coached track. And he shared with me that he was teaching all day and, making $1,000 a semester hour. Then he was in good shape, but not when they reduced him down to 1 hour a day of teaching when he was about to lose his house. And here's how he enrolled me. He said, Mary Louise, anyone you've ever asked me to do with you, I've done. Now you can get your credit card and go do this with me, because he said, I'm delivering pizza at night just to keep the lights on. I have no other options. But I finally looked at Kyani, and it is different. I think it's a whole new model in this industry. I think it's going to transform the network marketing industry. And that's what we both, so Mike took it on. He took it on full time. He did 12 hours a day. His back was on the financial wall and about to lose his home. Now he's bought a new home on the beach in Hawaii and another home here in Utah. And this has been life-changing for me too. So it has been the opportunity of a lifetime. And Kyani really works if we work. So let's look at this company. So the very name, they didn't go to a think tank and say, well, what's catchy? What shall we name this company? Kyani comes from a word in the language of the Tlingit Indian tribe. They're in Alaska. They're a very ancient people. And 2 of our products come from Alaska, and they come from the mainstay of the diet of the Tlingit Indian tribe, which, by the way, they don't have a word in their language for cancer, heart disease, diabetes, because they don't have it. You don't name that which doesn't exist. So they had medical researchers there studying these people to say, well, why don't they have the diseases that are killing us of ever-increasing numbers in the civilized world? And it was not anything genetic. They're just like you and me, but it was their diet. And what they decided to do was take the mainstay of their diet, the wild Alaskan sockeye salmon, the wild Alaskan blueberry, do formulations, take it to the world, and see if we could make a difference. And in the last 7.5 years, we indeed have. So that word Kyani means strong medicine in the Tlingit Indian language. Our owners are based in Idaho Falls, Idaho. We were established administratively in 2005 and opened the market in August of 2007. So we're about 7.5 years old now. When I came in with Mike, We were already in 30 countries. That's extraordinary for a young company. If a company wants to go to $1 billion in sales, they can no longer do it in the U.S. alone. They're now taking network marketing to the world. And just in these 5 years, now we're in 30 countries more. So we're in 60 countries, probably 20 more in some stage of opening right now. How is Kyani different? They're calling it the most financially secure launch in the history of the industry. Our owners have already invested hundreds of millions of dollars into this global turnkey structure. They haven't taken a cent out. A lot of these companies are started on either $1 million to $5 million, and they're done by what I would call ravenous wolves investors, and they intend to get their money back first and get the most of it. And our owners don't have that as a vision. Their vision is to empower the quality of life for people and give people new options in the world, both with their health and in the possibility of developing residual wealth if they do the work. So this company is based on that vision. Our plan is based on that vision. Our products, our owners, and it is working. And so they've, in the 7.5 years, or if you count the 2 years of putting together the structures, they haven't taken 1 cent back out. And we have not just a good comp plan, we have a revolutionary comp plan that's going to transform the industry. And in the others, there are many other different kinds of plans, but they really are based on the people who get in first are the lucky ones, and they make the lion's share of the money, and the rest of us work for them. And so even with my perseverance that's in my nature, if I'm a 6th degree black belt, that should tell you something about me, that I'm perseverant. If I'm a 20-time U.S. national gold medalist, the average is people compete 3 to 5 years because it's too hard. There's too much work required. So I'm perseverant like a bulldog with a bone, and I could not make money in network marketing. I made $2,000 my first month dabbling. Mike worked 12 hours a day, made $10,000 his first month, saved his family financially. And this one is revolutionary. It pays people who do the work. And it is team building, community building. It pulls for that. It's based on that. It pays from the bottom up. This plan was invented by the Japanese. They love network marketing. They're number 2 in the world in terms of dollars spent in network marketing. And they're a little bitty island. The U.S. is number 1, but we're quite a bit bigger. But they're number 1 per capita. 1 in 6 people in Japan do network marketing, but they are a very cooperative culture, and they have not liked the competitive plans that have come out of the U.S. And people have done some variations on the theme, but they've basically been the same, that it has been for the few to make the life-changing money. But Kyani is an equal opportunity for anybody who does the work. So we don't just have another health supplement and thousands. There are thousands of good health supplements on the market. We have 3 supplements based in more mainstream science than I've ever seen, and that I read that for entertainment, by the way. So I got clear, very clear, that Kyani's products are literally changing the biochemistry of disease and aging in the human body. They are reversing disease processes. They are life-changing, sometimes life-saving products, not just another healthy supplement. And by the way, we've got some of our products have 100-year international patents. You're not going to see it at the grocery store. We are a member of the Direct Selling Association, the DSA. That's the organization that maintains the integrity in the industry. Our CEO was on the board of directors of the DSA, so Kyani very early on in their history, really before they even launched their market, they were a member of the DSA. Many companies never achieved that. We are positioned for massive growth. If you study this industry, I used to be just a product geek. Now I'm an industry geek, and I've studied why companies fail and all that kind of stuff. Most companies fail in the first 2 to 3 years. They have very high failure rate. Like I said, sometimes it's planned that way. and the investors make the money, but they pull the rug out from under the people who made it for them. Kyani is not like that. They're positioned not only for massive growth, but long-term vision. And they did $250 million right at that last year. They are increasing by 40% a month. So you're going to see this company go to $1 billion company, I would say, within the next 2 years or sooner. And they're going to make millionaires along the way. I'm one of them. Mike and I both have made over $1 million in the last 5 years. I've actually made over $1.5 million, so 1.5 million in 5 years. And I only made 75,000 my first year, so you can kind of estimate. I doubled every year, so you can kind of estimate where I am right now with this. Never in this world imagined. My degree is in biology. I worked in a lab. I worked in cancer diagnosis and research for about 20 years. And like I said, I've never seen anything like these products that Kyani is bringing to the world. So we're a different company. That's what I want you to get. The company is different. Our owners have more integrity than I've come across in my lifetime. In 5 years, they've never said anything they haven't done. If they make a mistake, and everybody does, but they clean it up, and they also clean it up in my favor. And I know people who are already distributors who've experienced that. They know that that's true. Our products are different. They're life-changing. The compensation plan is life-changing also, and industry-changing. And the timing is exquisite. It's perfect. To catch a company when it's going into full-blown global momentum, somebody loves you upstairs, and we're out to change life. What we're really up to is creating new opportunities for people, new futures, and then we help them get there. That's another way in which Kyani is different. I've never been in a company. I've probably been in 5 of them, and usually you're pretty much on your own. It's really up to you, but Kyani trains people, and we have a duplicatable system. This presentation is part of that. And then we have a quick start training, and we have a compensation in detail plan training. So we do these webinars on demand, and we do them regularly twice a week. But literally what we're doing is training people to be successful. We're creating new leaders, and we're creating new futures for people, and then helping them get there. These are our owners and our CEO, the couple in the upper left-hand corner, Dick and Gail Pell. They're the ones who came across the medical researchers. They sold. Gail Pell is the one who started Mrs. Powell's Cinnamon Rolls. I'm old enough to remember that. They eventually sold out. They created a franchise. That recipe began in her kitchen. I tell her all the time she's now making amends for poisoning people with sugar and fat and white flour. She laughs about it, and she said, "You're right." And they sold that Cinnabon. So most people recognize that from the smells, the good smells that poison you, that drive you crazy in the malls and the airports. But when they sold their franchise, they loved to go to Alaska to hunt and fish. They loved Alaska. They met this researcher working with the Clinkets, and they said, "We want to partner with you to take some formulations to the world." They found out that the doctors were already working on a formulation to see if they couldn't help others throughout the world not die, like I said, in ever-increasing numbers from cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. So they went back to their hometown of Idaho Falls, Idaho. They talked to 2 of their neighbors in their neighborhood, the Hansen family. They are known for oil and gas distribution, and they are innovative people. A lot of people would start, they started by 3 generations in their family ago, they started by buying a gas station. And you drive up and down the road, and you know those people, you stop at the gas station, you go in and buy a drink or something, and boy, these people work long, hard days. But they didn't stop there. They started distributing. They bought tanker trucks and began distributing to their own stations. They bought more stations. They were the first people to do a convenience store with a gas station. That was an innovative idea that caught on. And then to raise the roof of the gas station so the big trucks could get in and they'd sell more gas. And now they are the largest gas and oil distributors in the western United States. They do almost $1 billion a year of gas and oil sales. Some people are billionaires on paper, and in a down economy, that can disappear, leaving people wondering who got the money. But these people are generations now of this kind of success in traditional business. And gas and oil we're going to spend on that is probably economy proof. And then the other economy proof business, if you look at our other owner, Carl Taylor, again, 3 generations ago in their family, the grandfather started with 3 leased acres, a horse, and a plow. And in Atlanta, where I'm from, we would call that a dirt poor potato farmer. But he didn't stay dirt poor. They didn't just work hard every day to feed their families. They worked hard to build, to really build a legacy and to leave a legacy. They're people that make a difference in their city. I mean, you see the Marriott Hotel there. These 2 families own half of Idaho Falls, I think. I drive by a car wash and it's theirs, or I drive by a shopping center and it's theirs, and the hotels are theirs, and restaurants, and they're just people who just keep building an empire, but they're out there making a difference in the world. And Carl Taylor's family now has, over 100,000 acres up in Idaho Falls, the 2nd largest potato producer in the United States. You see that big silo, and I see how big that is. They have 25 of them. They have tractors that have like tank treads on them, and the Japanese come over. They love to say, "Oh, take my picture in the tractor." I did that too, by the way, and I climbed that Potato Mountain, and it's very, very impressive. And they ship and then they have organic vegetable farms, and they have Black Angus cattle. And so meat, potatoes, and gas and oil, I think our owners have economy-proof businesses. That's important because we want to know the number one reason why these companies fail is usually insufficient financial funding. They run out of money. I know of another one in Salt Lake City that's on the way out, and that's exactly their issue. They couldn't even handle growth. So our owners, we've had huge influx of over $1 million of sales in another country, and they handled it without even a hiccup. So they come from making business work and doing it big time, but they didn't have any experience in network marketing. But they went out and hired the best. And Michael Beshears literally came out of retirement. He has 30 years of experience in the industry. He's led several companies to global expansion. And they brought him in, and he came out of retirement. Why? Because he saw that Kyani was different. He said, this is the company not only he has been waiting for, but everybody has been waiting for, one that really, really works. So our owners are proven multimillionaire industry giants, and they are transforming the industry of network marketing. And like I said, we have transformational and life-saving products, the triangle of health. I think that we have 3 products is great. There are 3 major causes that are listed for disease and aging, rapid aging in the human body. One of the biggest causes is inflammation. The other is free radical damage. Your body produces energy at the cell level, and it produces free radicals as a side product, just like your engine, when it produces energy combustion, it leaves a sludge. Well, you could say the free radicals are sludge that is produced by your cells when it's producing the energy and function. And if you don't bind free radicals with antioxidants, that's why you've seen the craze for antioxidant juices over the last 25 years. Why? Because our very food, if you eat real food, fruits and vegetables, they don't contain the nutrition, and I've got a slide on that the Japanese did a study, and the overall average of phytonutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals in our fruits and vegetables today is only 25% of what it was 60 years ago. So we do need supplementation. Maybe before you could get away with saying if you had a good diet, you wouldn't have to. But with the modern world, yes, indeed, you do if you want to maintain health. So that's important. That's an anti-inflammatory. All 3 of our products are anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. 1, lipid soluble or fat soluble, and 2 that are water soluble. But that's not the only aspect of health. So we heard from cardiologists as long as 25 years ago that we had a huge imbalance of omega-3 to omega-6 and 9. Our omega-3 was very, very low. We're supposed to be, to omega-6 to omega-3, we're supposed to be 3 to 1, and we're 40 to 1. So they recommended, well, fish oil is a complete omega-3, EPA, DHA, omega-3. So can you get some omega-3 from plants? Yes. Plant seeds, yes. But you want to get that complete omega-3. And wild Alaskan sockeye salmon, it has been known for a long time that it provides a complete EPA, DHA, omega-3, and this is very pure and potent. So we're going to talk about these products, each one individually, and that's important. And then that product, all fish oil has to be preserved or to prevent the oxidation of the fish oil with vitamin E, but we don't use common vitamin E. We use a fraction of vitamin E called a delta-tocotrienol, and that comes from a plant seed down in Ecuador, and that is a breakthrough in cardiovascular health and also as anti-tumor, anti-cancer, and we're going to talk about that. Then the nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, Columbia University called it the molecule of life. After the ripe old age of 25 years old, your body starts, just like human growth hormone. After 25, you're on a catabolic phase of life. Up until 25, anabolic, building. Catabolic is the breakdown. And so every decade of life after the age of 25, your body is going to produce 10 to 15% less nitric oxide. Well, why did they call it the molecule of life? Well, because all cell function depends on the presence of nitric oxide. And all cell communication, your body cells, trillions, communicating as a unified organism depends on the presence of nitric oxide. Your brain function, every thought in your brain needs nitric oxide for communication between nerve cells. So very, very important. So when you look at this aspect, this triangle of health, I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. And I'm watching more real results and reversal of heart disease, diabetes, all kinds of immune system disease, and all kinds of inflammatory conditions improving in people dramatically with these three products. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Sometimes you don't see that with allopathic medicine. That's a picture of the Tlingit Indian tribe. Aren't they interesting? They do look like an ancient tribe. And this is a slide that it really backs up what I was saying. We do need supplementation because we literally have an epidemic of disease in the United States. You see over this 20-year period an increase of 20%. Back in 1990, we had about the average of 10% of our population had type 2 diabetes. And with each increasing decade, you saw that increase until we're about a third of the U.S. population with diabetes. Mexico's #1 in the world in obesity and diabetes. U.S. is #2. And I think that's, I'm not too proud of that statistic. We don't want to win that race. And then cancer, we're watching increase. Now 1 out of 2 American men will have cancer in their lifetime, 1 out of 3 women. That is a horrendous statistic that we live with, and only to be surpassed, by heart disease. And our products impact all of these major diseases very positively and powerfully. Alzheimer's, when I was a little girl, never even heard the word till I was in my late 20s, maybe 30. And now 1 out of 8 in the U.S. will have Alzheimer's and dementia. And I think that's a poor reward for a life well lived, is to lose the ability to do everything you love to do and to even recognize your own family. And now people as young as 40 years old are getting Alzheimer's. So something is wrong, and Kyani is impacting that positively like nothing I've ever seen in my lifetime. So this is that study. There are about 30 pages. The study was done, I think, about 16 years ago, and or I guess 13 years ago. If you just look at spinach, in 1951, 8,000 international units. 50 years later, in 2001, only 700, less than 9%. So if you look at those averages, this is just 1 page out of 30, but the overall average is 25% of the nutrition. And that's only if You're not eating at Burger Biggie or whatever like that, Plastifood I call it, or we really are living in the industrial food era. And if you think your body recognizes synthetic nutrients like it does from plants, you haven't read too much. It doesn't. And often, even the way they're processing some oils is doing DNA damage to your cells. So sometimes advancements are not good. And that's one of the cases where it's not. Let's look at Sunrise in depth. It's based, the number one ingredient is the wild Alaskan blueberry. Why is that so special? Well, first of all, Tufts University in Boston about 7 or 8 years ago did a study, and what they determined, out of all the fruits and vegetables, 40 of them tested the blueberry, but the domestic farm blueberry had by far the strongest antioxidant value, which we call an ORAC value. Remember the free radical damage to the cells? Oh, by the way, the third cause, major cause of disease and rapid aging is malnutrition. That's the other one. So inflammation, free radical damage, and malnutrition. And these three products have more impact on those issues than anything I've seen. So this domestic farm blueberry is powerful, but when you look at the wild Alaskan blueberry, they call it the king of fruits. Why? Because the ORAC value, the oxygen radical absorption capacity of a food, this is 20 times more powerful than the domestic farmed blueberry. If you took that common blueberry bush from the lower 48 up to Alaska, it wouldn't survive one season. Why? Because that's a severe environment up there. They have times in the winter where the temperatures go 100 degrees below zero. And they have 3 months of darkness. And in the summertime, maybe 3 months of 24 hours a day of sun. If you took that blueberry bush from the lower 48 up there, wouldn't survive because it couldn't adapt quickly enough. It would die. Whereas for millennia, this wild Alaskan, tens of thousands of acres in the tundra up there, have grown for millennia. And I've really studied about adaptogenic effect in plants. And when a plant survives a severe environment, it has an adaptogenic effect against stress, environmental stress. Well, we're stressed by our environment, probably more so now than if we were running from the dinosaurs. And that's where that adaptogenic effect is very important to us in today's world too. So not only do we have this super berry, this super antioxidant, but they've searched the world for herbs, foods, fruits, vegetables, and put together a formulation that is making a huge impact in health and well-being. It's very concentrated. That bottle, that 30-ounce bottle, will last a month, only 1 ounce a day. Or I like doing the little, what I call the rip and sip packets. They're easy for travel, and I travel a lot. And that delivers the 1 ounce just once a day. And look at what's in it for you. First of all, it says 100% daily vitamins and minerals. It's 100% to 3,000%. The vitamin B12, if you come over here to this list, and it's talking about, let's see, where is it? The sardines, as if you had eaten 80 ounces. It's like more than 5 pounds of sardines. Nobody is going to eat that in a day. So enough vitamin B12, it's 3,000% of the minimum daily requirement B12. B12 is very important to your immune system. So people taking this product, what they notice right away is they often don't get colds and flu, and they feel great. They get energy all day long. But if you just look at that list, there's no way you could eat that quantity of food to get that kind of nutrition. But that's in 1 ounce, very concentrated superfood is what we're talking about. And, I started calling this product Leading Edge, Antioxidant, Best Money Could Buy, and the other two products that Kyani has as breakthrough in human health. And I'm now adding this to that too, because this kind of nutrition is making a huge difference for people. They're functioning better. There are people who've suffered with fibromyalgia for 5 years and can hardly live their life, and or they have Lyme's disease for 5 years and are not functioning well. Or this young man right here in Utah had lupus erythematosus, 27 years old, knees would swell up so much he couldn't even walk, couldn't work, had a wife and 2 children, felt like he had the flu every day of his life, had that typical rash on his face and chest. Inside of a month, his rash was gone. His knees had, all the swelling had left. He felt good. He went back to work. That's why I call this life-changing. That's what these products are delivering. So look at that support to the immune system. This is what's in it for you. So maintains heart health, reduces inflammation in the human body, and promotes joint flexibility, muscle function, cognitive function. So I want to have my brain work with every breath of life, not just when I'm young. And I want to have stamina and vitality, being vitally alive, not just well, but vitally alive, full of energy with every breath of life. I am 70 years old, and when I meet people my age, I think they're intimidated by being in the same room with me because I'm not old. I may be 70 years on the planet, but I'm not old. And after taking these products for 5 years, in 4 days, I didn't have knee pain, and my knees had hurt me for 10 years. I'd suffered with migraine headaches at least for 30 years. But I've been headache prone my entire life since I was a little girl, and started getting migraines when I was in my late 20s and suffered terribly with them. I haven't had a migraine since I started on these products. These are life-changing results. Okay, so let's go on and look at our Sunset product. We talked about the quality of omega-3 and the safety of it. If you take a supplement, you want to know, first of all, is it safe? Well, with a huge demand for fish oils, you saw the birth of another industry, fish farming. If you Google fish farming, you'll never go to a restaurant again and order fish without saying, is this wild caught or farm raised? And you think American farms, that's a good thing, but this is not like that. Fish farming, they're tanks. They're not like little corrals out in the ocean. And besides that, there's so much pollution in the oceans of the world and fat cells bind toxins. So if you're doing fish oil, you're getting concentrated levels of toxins if there's toxins in the water, even if they're wild caught. So the only place I eat fish from is Alaska because it's the coldest, purest water left on Earth. So it's, first of all, safe. And then in fish farms, they stack those fish. They can't swim. They're stacked on top of each other. They get disease. They put antibiotics in their feed. And we saw from the cattle and chicken industry how that's not good for human consumption, and other kinds of medications. But the fish can't swim. Well, it's the exercise that produces the quality of omega-3. So to start with, oil from farmed fish is worthless. And then it's dangerous because it's loaded with toxins and medications that we shouldn't have. So you're taking supplements thinking you're doing something good for your body, and you're doing more damage. So you better be an informed consumer. So you want only wild-caught fish and from Alaska. There's no measurable heavy metals like cadmium, mercury, PCB, lead, all of which cause cancer. None measurable in our product. So first of all, it is safe. Then it is potent. So we have 1,000 milligrams of EPA, DHA, complete omega-3. What does that mean for you? Just the quality of omega-3 in fish oil. It has been tested in an independent laboratory. The Kyani Sunset product, not ingredients, but Kyani Sunset product was tested by an independent laboratory. A 10% dilution was proven to reduce inflammation in the human body by almost 95%, 94.8 or something like that, 95%. If you take medication like ibuprofen, it reduces inflammation by 30%, but it's also damaging your kidneys and liver, and people have died taking something that you think is over-the-counter sales, very innocuous, no problem, and people have died from taking aspirin and ibuprofen and other anti-inflammatories, especially something like Celebrex that can cause people to die from bleeding. And I know Larry Bartle right here in Salt Lake City, Utah, had an injured shoulder when he was young, and as he grew older, it got terrible arthritis. He couldn't even raise his arm more than 5 inches and had terrible pain, and the doctor said you either need your shoulder rebuilt, you need an artificial shoulder, or you're going to stay on Celebrex. And he had a friend who almost bled to death on Celebrex, but he couldn't stand the pain. He went on these products. In a month, he got off of the Celebrex. He just noticed when he forgot to take it that he didn't have any more pain, and now he has full range of motion. So when I say this reduces inflammation, it really works better than allopathic medication for inflammation that all has life-threatening side effects. This has zero side effects using this product. And it's going to help maintain healthy blood pressure levels. It's going to help maintain, all three of our products help maintain healthy blood sugar levels. It's going to give you increased energy. It's going to lubricate your joints, actually your skin and hair. And that, I don't mind that at all, that people never guessed me to be 70 years old. I think that's lots of fun. And it's because my skin looks better now. People who haven't seen me in a while say my skin looks better than it did 5 years ago. I don't mind that a bit. And this whole thing on improved mood and stress relief is huge. I've never been a depressive personality. Many people are and suffer terribly, and they'll be on these products for one day and their depressive symptoms are gone. And I know people with severe depressive disorder and don't get out of bed and don't take care of their children. There's one woman I'm thinking of, and the first day she went on this product, she got up, fixed breakfast, took the kids to school. That's what moms do, right? But she hadn't done it in 5 years. Her mother had to come and live with her and take care of the kids because she wouldn't. She stayed in bed and couldn't leave her alone. She tried to commit suicide. She was on antidepressants, which one of the side effects is tendency to commit suicide. That's, I think, a really bad fix for depressive disorder. I guess you're not depressed anymore, but it's a little extreme. And this has no known side effects. And this woman now has her life back, but the kids have their mom back, and the husband has his wife back. So that kind of life-changing. And in terms of mood. Now, I've been an irritable person. I've always put a lot of demand on myself, and then I thought everybody else should measure up to that, and I'd get real irritated if life didn't go my way, and life didn't measure up, and other people didn't measure up. And I can't tell you how many of my ex-students tell me I'm so much nicer. I must have been the coach from the hot place, I tell you. But anyways, you know, my whole family loves that I'm on these products because I'm a much nicer person. Stress is always going to be there, but you don't have to go down for the count, and I don't. I stay strong in the face of whatever life brings, and I love that. I just really love feeling strong in my life. And bone development, who wants to get old and you know, lose your strength? Not me. So this really makes that kind of difference. It is a breakthrough in brain and cardiovascular health. But now let's look at these little seeds. These seeds right here, Ecuador, the annatto bush plant from Ecuador. And Dr. Barry Tan, who used to be most known for his research with lutein and carotenoids, from what I read, and about 20 years ago started working on vitamin E tocotrienol. Now, vitamin E, common vitamin E, is tocopherol. It's a blend of tocopherol fractions. They just named those 4 fractions of tocopherols, alpha, beta, delta, gamma, the Greek letters. And the same thing, 4 fractions of tocotrienols, alpha, beta, delta, gamma. And that compound is common vitamin E. But there's this research going on in the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years about especially the delta fraction of tocotrienol, the most powerful, but it has to be found isolated. So he began, he has a 100-year international patent on an extraction method of isolating delta tocotrienol in brown rice and palm, heart of palm. But that's 60% tocopherol. And like I say, if the tocotrienols are bound to the tocopherols, it doesn't have this independent action that I'm going to talk about next. You know, you can't get it. So you have to have it isolated. So he was isolating it. But what he discovered, he was out researching in a jungle in Ecuador, and he found this plant, and he saw that those seeds, when the pod would open up to the sun, you'd expect the seeds to be deteriorated and lose that bright red color, and it didn't, and that interested him. And he's a biochemist, and he took it back to the lab and was eureka, I found it. Here's the doctor who's doing the research, and most known for that with tocotrienols, and he finds a plant seed that is 100% isolated tocotrienol, 90% delta, 10% gamma, the 2 most powerful fractions. So now, why do we want tocotrienols? Well, tocotrienols will reduce LDL cholesterol and triglycerides 70% more effective than statin drugs with none of the life-threatening side effects that statin drugs produce. And it works 70% better. So people start lowering blood pressure, lower cholesterol. It really impacts cardiovascular health positively like nothing ever, in human health. So that's why I call this a breakthrough in human health. But not only that, the delta tocotrienols prevent cell damage from radiation. Now, given the radiation spill with the tsunami, earthquake and tsunami in Japan, you think that might be why that we're selling $1,600,000 a month of these products in Japan? I think it has something to do with it. You see a lot of with radiation spills in the air, ground, and water. You're going to see a lot of thyroid cancer, and they are now substituting taking iodine supplement with this because this is preventing cell damage from radiation. Huge. Huge. But what else? Prevents platelet aggregation. So people have clotting disorders, and this prevents that. So again, healthy circulation and blood flow. But there's also an anti-tumor, anti-cancer. You could go to PubMed.gov, put in the search box delta tocotrienol. You'll see thousands of research articles, most of which projects have been done in the last 5 years. That delta tocotrienols, I even read an article 3 years ago in the Journal of American Medical Association, the periodical over the last 60, 70 years that allopathic medical doctors read to keep up with the latest discoveries in science and medicine. And in this mainstream periodical for medical doctors, I saw an article. If anybody wants it, I saved it on my computer. I'd be glad to send it to you. I've put my email address there. You can request it. But basically what they were saying is everything I've just said, plus delta tocotrienols reduce the tumor cancers. They're reducing tumor size in some of the most aggressive cancers in the human body, like pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, because cancer tumors grow by a process called angiogenesis, rapid blood vessel formation. And I'm not going to get into how that happens, but it's very interesting if you read about it. But the delta tocotrienols are anti-angiogenic. They not only prevent that process, they reverse it if it's already there. So that it really just takes the blood supply away from the tumor shrinks and dies. And that, like I said, that's there. They made a comparison to chemotherapy is about $300,000 per patient to have somebody go through chemotherapy. The overall survival rate is 10 to 12%. Some tumors respond better than others to chemotherapy, others not at all. But the overall survival rate is 10 to 12%. Cost about more than $250,000 a person to do it, and the people suffer terribly, go right to the edge of death to see if they can survive, and the tumor won't. But this causes none of those side effects, and it's causing tumor reversal in some of the most aggressive tumors in the human body. That's huge. Okay, so now if you combine that product with this product and Super Nutrition with our Sunrise and Sunset, and you combine it with this nitric oxide precursor product based on the noni plant they saw about 25 years ago. The noni fruit juice product was raising nitric oxide levels in the body. But a doctor by the name of Abbas Kutab went to work on the research, and he discovered that the whole noni plant, the root, the leaves, the stems, the fruit, and certain elements like coenzyme Q10, magnesium, zinc, chromium, in this Nitro Extreme product, which is 5 times more potent, 5 times stronger, that it raises nitric oxide levels in the body immediately and also dramatically. These 3 medical doctors received a Nobel Prize in 1998. Their research was based on the L-arginine molecule, which is an amino acid. But if you have an isolated amino acid and you take sufficient quantities of it, you can get side effects, about 40%. And one of the most significant, diarrhea. Almost all the people got diarrhea from from using that supplement isolated like that, and skin rashes. But it also had a life-threatening side effect. It would stimulate herpes virus in some people. This has none of that. I'm going to call that was an L-arginine pathway. I'll call it a first-generation nitric oxide precursor, giving your body something it needs to produce nitric oxide. You know, you could call it the fountain of youth. Like I said, Columbia University called it the molecule of life. And but now this is a nitrite, plant nitrite nitrate. That's what you're getting from that noni plant, the nitrite nitrate pathway. And it's giving your body the elements. It grabs those elements immediately. The L-arginine would take hours to produce a little bit of nitric oxide. This takes seconds. In seconds, your body is immediately producing. So you take about 20 to 30 drops 3 times a day, hold it in your mouth a minute, and within seconds, your body is producing high levels of nitric oxide. This Nitro Extreme for athletes is amazing to increase without any stimulation whatsoever, but just increasing function from the cell level. So you're getting increase of speed, strength, recovery, without any negative side effects. I was still on U.S. national team and competing at a world-class level, and they test you. And you can't even take cough syrup. You will test out as something, you know, like ephedra with a stimulant effect. This tests nothing as a stimulant. And it produces, like if I take 20 pounds of a dumbbell weight, and I can do 10 repetitions to fail, you're really struggling on the last one, and I take 30 drops of Nitro Extreme, wait 15 minutes, and I can double it. And in my lifetime, I've never been able to do 20 repetitions with 20 pounds dumbbell and bicep curls, never. And, you know, that without stimulation, you're actually producing strength, energy at the cell level, just like it should be. So this is a breakthrough in human health. And let's look at this aspect of nitric oxide. First of all, it's anti-inflammatory. But what these doctors discovered, even though nitric oxide is produced by every cell in the human body, the lion's share was produced in the cells that line your arteries. So they wondered, did it have something to do with cardiovascular health? And they were right on. People naturally sometimes have low levels of nitric oxide, just genetically. Even in the black race, they have something called sickle cell anemia. What they don't produce enough of is nitric oxide. And they're doing research right now, and they're having very positive results. This Dr. Claire Francomano pictured there, she was, you know, she's like who's who of American medical doctors, graduated from Johns Hopkins University and was chief of genetics and anti-aging research at the U.S. National Institutes of Health. She was head of the project team who mapped the human genome. That's like splitting the atom. It happens once. And that's who she is. And she is on our medical board. She came to this company because of this product. She reviewed the research for months. And Dan Swindell, who's another diamond in my, you know, one of my teammates in my organization in Kyani, he knows her and brought her in. And she said, this is a breakthrough in human health. And so what these doctors determined, and she's working on that project and following it with the sickle cell anemia, and we're having, what they don't produce enough of is nitric oxide, and it's making a dramatic difference for these people with sickle cell anemia. If that gets diagnosed when they're teenagers, they generally don't live to see their 40th birthday. They die with cardiovascular disease. So when you have low levels of nitric oxide, what these doctors proved is that 100% of the time you will have cardiovascular disease. If you have high levels of nitric oxide, you could live to be 100 years old and never die with a heart attack or have cardiovascular disease. And so it is directly related to cardiovascular health. So vasodilation, you're going to take more oxygen, more nutrients to every single cell of your body, so the entire human organism is going to function better. And like I said, it's a neurotransmitter, another very, very important function to the function of the entire body. So you're going to see a reduction in inflammation and pain. It's a natural pain reliever. If you get a shot of morphine, what it does is stimulate rapid production of huge levels of nitric oxide. NO, nitric oxide, is a pain reliever. You can put this on the outside of your body, joint pain, a burn. It's going to take the pain out of a burn in seconds, but it's also going to prevent blistering. Huge. I've known mothers put drops into a child's ear, a crying baby with an earache, and the baby stops crying, you know the pain's gone. So I'm just saying, try that. It works. So you're going to have improved heart health. You're going to have improved brain function. Sexual function, of course, it's a vasodilator. You know, when those doctors did that research, the first thing the pharmaceutical companies did was go right out and produce synthetic nitric oxide. Viagra was originally a heart drug, and they just saw that it was causing a return of sexual function for men, which often they lost their sexual function with all the cardiovascular drugs they were taking, and this returned it. So they thought, oh, gee, another heart drug, or should we make trillions as a sexual function, male sexual potency drug? And we saw the way they went. But synthetic nitric oxide, they've had hundreds of deaths with that drug. This produces the vasodilation and so improves sexual function, but none of the risk. No known side effects in 15 years. So it's going to boost your immune system, improve nutrient absorption and blood flow. Of course, you're going to have increased energy because your body is functioning with no known side effects. So if we have products that work, you're going to see testimonials like Parkinson's disease. Our formulator did not even know that the Nitro Extreme product was going to help people with Parkinson's. This is Leroy Meridi. I led his presentation, just like you're listening to now, in Portland, Oregon, about 4 years ago. He used the Nitro Extreme. He stopped tremoring for the first time in 10 years. He had type 2 diabetes, was on insulin, was on high blood pressure meds. He's off of medications. He couldn't walk 2 feet unassisted. He's now walking 2 miles a day, riding a bike, got his life back. His wife was suffering from terrible arthritis. My friend Pat Sharani, and I was just talking to her, she's on this webinar. She had type 2 diabetes. At 78, she thought she was dying. She's now 82 and traveling around leading Kyani presentations because she's off of 5 different medications and literally got her life back. A doctor down in Honduras, Dr. Cesar Fernandez, now a new emerald. They've only been open 3 months in Honduras. He's now a new emerald down there. And this was one of his patients. This is why he's so passionate about the Kyani products. So he's seeing all kinds of results. But that was with a patient with some of the worst psoriasis I've ever seen. You see the lower pictures there on the left-hand side? The hand, the neck, the arm, the leg. That's 1 month on these products. That's the difference. He used the Nitro FX on the outside of his body as well as taking it internally. And those were the results. Needless to say, changed the man's life. That's why I use that term with responsibility, saying that it is life-changing and even life-saving. This is Mike Akagi, the lower middle there. He's my sponsor and dear, dear friend of 20 years. And that's his mother-in-law, who was told 5 years ago she would be dead in 3 months, and that was 5 years ago. And she had lung cancer and stomach cancer, and she's still alive. And we talked about high performance. So just go to YouTube, put Kyani anything, autism, ADD, diabetes, whatever, and you're going to see video testimonials. Now, this, I'm not going to get into too much detail because we don't have time. I do an hour-long compensation plan training just like we're doing here. This is just an overview. What I want you to get is, like, if you look in the upper left there, all these typical plans. So you have the first multi-level with Amway, and they went on to varying different plans based on that first one, unilevel and binary, and all of those, they have what's called breakage. You could have commissions paid, but because of some kind of qualifying, rule there, that people don't get paid. And it's a true multi-level thing where only the people at the top make the big money and the rest of us work for them. And you would, the unilevels really put you in competition, and the multi-levels put you in competition with your own business partners, your family and friends and other business contacts, because literally you're not going to place, if you only have 7 or 9 levels, you're not going to place somebody, if you enroll another person, you're not going to place them down under somebody else, even if they know each other or friends, or help them, because you're going to lose levels and commissions. And so you're going to place them all front line to you and literally compete with everybody else you brought in. And Kyani is not like that. We have a new model, like the iPad was to the computer, a new way of computing the iPad brought out. And this is a new compensation plan. And the Japanese, it took this company 8 years to come up with this. They tested it with an MIT math genius for months. They tested it in Japan for 6 months. The darn thing works, and it pays on all volume. We have levels, but you can't really call us a multi-level company because we don't get paid by levels. We have structures, but we don't get paid by structures. We have products that we have the highest retention recorded in the industry. The average is 10 to 12% after 6 months. After 7.5 years, we have 60% retention. Really 6 times the industry average, never before recorded. So when you have people staying on products and you keep growing that market, you're going to make more and more money, and you get paid on all volume of sales. And it pays from the bottom up. So I bring in 3 people, bring in 3 people, bring in 3 people, bring in, like that. It goes on and on and on and on. Now I have 20,000 people in my organization. And when you get that kind of growth, and they bring 20,000, bring 3 in, then that exponential aspect is huge. But I never get cut off from commissions. I get paid some percentage of commissions on all sales in my entire organization. That has never before been done. So like I said, I can train you on that aspect. You will make money from the first day because you get paid every time you bring somebody into the business. Every time you have a customer, you get paid 5 times a month. Your customers and new distributor recruitment, you get paid weekly. And then you get paid residual of people staying on the products. And like I said, that builds up very, very quickly. And then when you reach a certain level, like you've got at least 100 people, all 3 of our products sell for $130 to a distributor. 120 points become qualifying volume for rank achievement. And then 100 points for commissionable volume for that Paygate accumulator. But let's look at rank. When you achieve the rank of Sapphire, you have 100 people. Let's just make it easy and say 100 points, so that's 10,000 in volume. When you hit that Sapphire rank, you now start to get a matching check bonus. Now, other companies have done that before, but only on personally sponsored people. And the average person might sponsor up to 5 people. That's kind of average, 3 to 5 people. But even if you're above average, maybe you sponsor 30 people, that's still not a lot. But this plan pays up to the next Sapphire rank or above, any rank above Sapphire. That first generation, up to the next leader, Sapphire rank or above, you make 15% of every single person who gets a check in that sponsorship tree that started with you. And then the second generation, you make 10%, the third generation, 10%, the fourth, 5%, the fifth, 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% for 9 generations. But look at the unlimited, uncapped aspect of this plan. This is where the true wealth, what they call the back end of the plan, when your whole organization is mature, the true wealth is built into this aspect of the plan, because I can sponsor somebody 10,000 levels deep if I have them. I get another 9 generations of matching check into that sponsorship tree, and that volume produces volume for everybody up above, so their pay gates go up too. So it's a win-win for everybody. And in the other kinds of plans, if you find a big leader, you're going to go maybe place another person down under them, but it's a hostile takeover. You just stole a level from them. And if anybody's ever worked those kinds of plans, you know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't exist here. If I place somebody under you, that helps my new person. If you're active in building and you're going to build down through one of their lines, and my person's going to build and produce volume for you and all of yours, And that is endless. I can do that over and over and over again to infinity and beyond. And that aspect, you'll see once you get to be about a blue diamond or above, your matching generational check is going to surpass your own commissions on all the volumes of sales in your organization. Huge. And then they pay you these bonuses for everything. I mean, they've got all kinds of promotions and bonuses, and they give you iPads and trips and cars, and they have 4 levels of car program. I'm on the 3rd level. I'm a purple diamond. When I hit green diamond, I qualified for the 3rd level, which is $2,500 a month. I have 2 luxury cars that, after 3 years, they're going to belong to me, paid for by the company, and they're mine. I never had anybody buy me a car before. Trips, I'm going on the presidential trip to the Maldives Islands, 5-star resort at the 4 Seasons in the Maldives, and they're buying luxury cars and going on luxury vacations are always more fun when you don't come home to the big bills. So that's available. But then when you hit certain ranks, like my friend Dr. Cesar Fernandez, who hit Emerald, he holds that for 1 more month, then they send him a check for $5,000. That's in addition to all the other bonuses and commissions the plan pays and all the other benefits the plan pays. And this plan pays out 58.5% of every dollar in back to the distributor. There's no breakage. So the plan pays what they say it pays, right? And I always thought if you could empower the 98% who didn't make life-changing income, wouldn't everybody, including the company, make more? And Kyani has proven that to be true, okay? So then I hit Purple Diamond. I held it 2 more months, and I got a check from the company for $100,000. That is in addition to the life-changing income. I make more in a month than I have ever made in a year. And I had no previous experience, didn't know how to do it, and now we've got a turnkey system that we can plug you into, a duplicatable system, and boy, they're using this down in Honduras and just exploding it. Over in the Philippines, it just opened April 1st, and we're exploding over there. Now, these are published average monthly earnings. When I hit Diamond, I started off at Diamond making $12,000 a month. I'd never done that before in my life, and went up to $19,000 a month. So $15,373 is pretty much an average. I live these averages. The company has to prove them. They take all these ranks in the company and they do an overall average of the earnings of what each of those ranks are earning. So, and that's not even counting the recruitment and weekly bonuses that you're getting for your customers too. And these, like I say, I'm not the only one doing this. We have over 100 people in Team Aloha with Mike Akagi's from Hawaii, right, who have earned the cars. And that's pretty darn great. I know Larry Bartle here in Utah, he's driving an Audi A7. It's the first car. It's the smallest car, even though it's an SUV. He says the smallest car because he has had 10 kids. When those 10 kids got grown, and he says, okay, now my wife and I are 60 years old. We spent 40 years raising kids. Now it's our turn. And there was no money. And now there's money for we went on that epic. He and his wife and me and my husband, we went on that cruise. So we're getting luxury vacations and all kinds of awards with Kyani too. And then when I thought that it was perfect, they went out and made it better. They have a loyalty program. I've been with them 5 years. I'm over 60. Yay! And I'm already earning money. I've already got something like $3,000 in 3 months because we've only been doing this since January. They just announced that at the International Convention in Orlando. And, so they didn't take anything away to give us more. They didn't take it from us. They took it from them. Okay, so this is now paying more, and your whole business is transferable to your heirs. I want to leave a legacy. I think everybody wants to do that. So Kyani is in full-blown momentum, and we are exploding globally. And I would say now is the time to catch that tsunami wave and ride it. You can help us build it, but you're going to ride it too, okay? In the United States, I would say the best entry-level pack would be, because you're going to get product for yourself, but you're going to get product to sell and share with others. We have 7-day trial packs. The products work, and people notice results the first week. That's why we have 7-day trial packs. So you get product for yourself, product to share. You're actually, for that $500, you're getting $770 worth of value, and you're getting 400 qualifying points for rank. And so it's a turnkey system. I opened a martial arts school, and just at the end of 2008, I'd have others that made really good money. But the last one was my best school. I invested $50,000 into it. It was just gorgeous, and we only got to break even. And then by the time I closed it in 2010, I was losing $1,000 a month. I was paying $1,000 a month for the privilege to teach, and I got to the end of my lease and I closed it. But I invested $500 in Kayane, and I've made over $1,500,000 in 5 years. I'd say that's a pretty darn good return. So that's our presentation for tonight. We might have left you in red light. No way, Jose, this is not for me, and I just thank you. I do not take your time lightly. And I thank you for your attention and your commitment to be here tonight. You might be caution light. I need some more information, and I'm here to do a phone call with you and your sponsor. We call those three-way calls, and help you get your questions answered so you can make a choice. Or you might be full green light. Man, this sounds like the one. That would be a really smart decision, because had I told Mike no, and I tried to, he just wouldn't let me. Now I have to grovel at his feet, bow down, and kiss his feet, because it gave me an opportunity I was never going to have in my life. And you might be there too. I'm in. Sign me up. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I'll be here next Wednesday night. Invite people to this webinar. Isn't technology great when you don't even have to leave your home to go to a meeting? And we do these all over the world. And I'm right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have an office down in Thanksgiving Point, and we do live presentations every week on Thursday night. And we talk to people all over the world. So just let me know how I can help you. Thanks, and I'll see you next Wednesday.